An inquiry has been made. West Ham are thought to have interest of. David Moyes would like to sign. Look, we hear these words rolling around from David Ornstein, Fabrizio X, all the major tabloids of West Ham United during this transfer window, and quite frankly, it's starting to get a little bit annoying. I'm not an expert on transfer dealings. Obviously, I don't run a football club. I've never been involved in transfer dealings. I'm not an expert on them, right? But in my eyes, if you want to sign somebody, go and sign somebody. If you know you want to sign them, put a bid in. We've made so many inquiries. We made, thought to be able to bid, and yet no moves have been made so far by West Ham in this transfer window, and it's starting to get a little bit worrying now. I believe the reason for this is two core reasons. Number one, I think the club are really focusing on the Declan Rice sale because once we know how much we're going to get for Declan Rice, once we know he's off our books, David Moyes can sit down and say, look, or with Sullivan or whoever it is, can sit down and say, look, I've got 100 million from Rice. We're going to give you, the club are going to give you an extra so and so million. This is your transfer kitty for the transfer window. You know how much money you've got now. Go out and spend it how you want to spend it. Maybe maybe Sullivan doesn't know how much he's going to give David Moyes, depending on, because obviously we've gone from 70 million to 80 million to now 100 million for Declan Rice. Perhaps Sullivan is saying, look, maybe I'm going to pump an extra so and so million in. Moyes is going to say, well, look, we need to put this much million in. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that our new director of football, technical director, I believe it is, Tim Steidten, I believe it is pronounced, is thought to be announced on the 1st of July. And I believe West Ham are waiting upon his arrival before they make any solid moves in the transfer window. Now, I get this. I get you want to be prepared. I get you. It doesn't make much sense to, bring someone in who's going to be dealing with transfers, identifying players, and then start buying players before he's even come. Because, what if he doesn't like the players, support the players? What if he says, "Oh, I don't rate this guy," or "I can find you a better person for cheaper or a better suited player." I get it. It kind of makes sense. And the Declan Rice thing, what if City? It's not going to happen. What if City came in the next few days or the next hours and said, "Oh, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 120 million," and then all of a sudden our transfer kitty changes and Moyes says, "Oh, well, I wouldn't have signed Alex Scott for 20 million. I would have signed someone else for 40 million instead, and now I've wasted 20 million. I can't sign him." So I do get it from a planning point of view. But unfortunately, the transfer window, you have to move fast. Once you've identified your targets, you have to move quickly. And someone like, for instance, Harvey Barnes, one of the number one players we've been linked with, someone that Moyes has basically said, I want to sign him 1,000,000%. Someone from a relegated Leicester side who are going to need to sell him, going to want to sell him for, I think, in the region of a £25 million, £30 million. Why not say, do you know what? It's not a lot of money. We really want to sign him. Boom, sign him. Let's get him in. Fair enough. You want to say we're not going to get our Rice replacement till we know our money's in. We want the technical director to pick up a new central defender midfielder. We want him to get his input on it before we go out and buy a big player. But if you know that Harvey Barnes, you're someone like Russell or anyone, anyone could come in the next couple of hours, agree a deal for him and get it done. We've seen Aston Villa in the past nip in and get transfers done within a day. They're someone who's interested in. There's no reason why before the 1st of July, which to be fair isn't even the confirmed date. It's the thought to be date, which obviously read from ex-direction employee. What if they come in the next couple of hours and say, do you know what, we'll sign Harvey Barnes, boom, what price do you want for him? Cool, we'll sign him. And then we're sitting there saying, well, that's our left wing target. Who else do we sign? Who else do we sign? Victor Gyökeres or Gyökeres, I believe it's pronounced. But, still interested in him. I think he's one of Moyes', he's a big admirer of Moyes', someone that potentially we could come in. Yes, fair enough. You might want to wait for Scamacca to leave first if that's what you want to do. But if you know that he's worth £20 million, and to be fair, that's not a lot of money in this market. If you know a deal can be agreed for him tomorrow for £20 million, go out and sign him. Go out and sign him. We've seen big moves made in this transfer window already. You look at a club like Arsenal with their ambition. They've just signed Kai Havertz. They're trying to sign Jurrien Timber, and they're about to sign Declan Rice. Now, that is a brilliant start to a transfer window. And it leaves them with a lot of room to play with for the rest of the transfer window. They haven't gone out and said, look, we're not going to sign anyone until we sign Declan Rice, and then we know how much money we've got left over for the transfer window. They said, Kai Havertz, Jurrien Timber, Rice. Those are my three that I 1 million % want this window, that I need in this window. Let's go out and get them. And they've said, yeah, let's go out and get them. And of course, I'm not comparing us to Arsenal. You know, they just finished second in the league. They're in Champions League. They'll probably kick it on and have a very good season and are showing a lot of ambition. My point being is that if West Ham just sit around and twiddle their thumbs at all of these transfer targets, because since the transfer window's opened, we've been listed with so many different players. Like I said, Victor Gyökeres, Alex Scott, Harvey Barnes, Tammy Abraham, I think we were linked with as well a little bit ago. João Paulinho, Edson Alvarez, Conor Gallagher, Amadou Onana, centre-back options as well, like Jonathan Tah has just broke today. And it's all thought to put a bid in. Why not just put a bid in? You've got to move fast in this transfer window. And we've seen in the past that we've been snubbed and we've missed out on big transfers because of this. So I get the pre-planning from West Ham. I get it. But to me, the number one person who's making these decisions should be David Moyes. So even if a technical director comes in the next few days and says, David, I don't like the look of this player, we shouldn't be signing him, it shouldn't matter. It's David Moyes' top player. And even if Tim comes in on the 1st of July, you know, will he have a list ready of players that David Moyes needs to go out and sign? Surely in the interview, one of the questions asked was, who would you sign if you were at West Ham right now? And he's given a few names away. It just seems very, very naive. And I get it. I get it from a planning perspective. I get it that they want to be prepared. I get it that they want to know where they stand before they make all these transfer dealings. But at the end of the day, you know who you want to sign. You know the areas we need to fill. It looks like, you know, Moyes wants a striker. Moyes wants a centre mid, a CDM, and a centre back at the moment. 4 players. And quite honestly, we could have those 4 players wrapped up fairly quickly. And it's not the fact that we haven't signed 4 players right now. The transfer window's just opened. The season's a while away. I do think one mistake West Ham always make is that they sign these players too late. They never get a pre-season. It doesn't really make sense for me to not sign a player for pre-season. You know, pre-season is that's what it's for. So you can get, you know, this squad have played together for the last year and a bit. They know how to play football together. They've shown that. Having them in pre-season is not going to change much. That's when you need to try new things, get your new players, and you need to say to yourself, right, I need this many players, or my main bulk of first team players are going to play in the first team, to be here at the camp training with us for pre-season, ready for the new season. Not, okay, well, the transfer window closes on the 31st of August, so I've got till then to sign my players, and it doesn't really matter. That to me is poor planning. That to me doesn't make sense. And I think it's a big thing that West Ham really struggle with, is they buy these players late on in the window or midway through the window. They don't get enough time to bed in. They spend half the season bedding in, and then we have a crap start to the season, you know. So for me, I just don't understand why we're not at least putting some bids in, testing the waters, you know. If David Moyes has been told that Alex Scott is worth £30 million, why doesn't he just go, do you know what? Why don't we test the waters for £15 million? He's a player I'm really keen on. Let's test the waters. If we can get it at £15 million, then that's obviously a bloody bargain. So I don't really understand why we're not going in for some transfer time. And Harvey Barnes, for me, I don't want to harp on about it, but it's a bloody no-brainer. He's been in the Premier League for years. He's at a relegated Leicester side. He's not going to stay there. I know it was reported a couple of days ago by some tabloid that he would be keen on staying. There's absolutely no football player in the world who would rather stay at a relegated Championship side when he's been playing in the Premier League for 3 or 4 years, as opposed to playing for a Premier League side who are, I would say, guaranteed safety next year. Maybe not wise words. And are also playing in Europe. There's no football player that would turn around and make that call. I don't see if no football player is going to do that. So if you go to Leicester and you say, do you know what, we're going to test the bid, 20 million, and they come back and they reject it. Okay, well, £20 million. okay, we'll think about going in for 25, 30. I mean, look at the way that Arsenal have lowballed us. And a lot of people will, say that we got the better end of the deal. But at the end of the day, Declan Rice was one of Arteta's number one targets. He spoke to Declan Rice first, saw that he would be open to a move to West Ham. He would choose West Ham, sold the project to him first, and then said, right, okay, we know he wants to join us. We know he's basically exclusively going to join us. Let's test the waters with a bid. £70 million, okay, don't want that. £80 million, don't want that. Okay, £90 million, okay, £100 million. There you go. You can have what you had wanted in the first place. If they'd come in with £100 million, maybe West Ham would have turned around and said, you know what, if that's your first bid, we're going to reject it and see what your second bid looks like. So I think we need to start making some moves in this transfer window, because other clubs might be a little bit smarter. There are some players I'm thinking to myself, maybe if we moved a bit quicker, we could have got them, and potentially for cheaper. Because what we don't want is a bidding war to start. We don't want to put a bid in for Harvey Barnes and then all of a sudden Aston Villa say, hold on, they're getting him for £25 million. Well, okay, we'll get him in for £27 million. We'll get him in for £30 million. Let's go for it. You want to strike while the iron's hot. And right now, there is no real competition for the players we're going for. Victor Gyökeres would prefer a move to West Ham over Lisbon at his thought. But if they come in with a bid and we're just sitting there twiddling our thumbs and don't do anything, we're not in the picture. There's no reason for Coventry to say, okay, well, let's wait for West Ham to make a bid because I know Victor wants to move there. No, they're just going to say, oh, you're paying us what we want. How are we going to do it? And I also wonder, when Tim does come in, is that going to be when the floodgates open? Is that going to be where David Moyes says, right, Tim, 1st of July, let's get to work. We're putting a bid in for him. This is my main target. This is my main centre-back target. This is my main goalkeeper target. This is my striker target. What do you think of these? I like him, David. I would opt for him instead. He's someone I tried to sign at Leverkusen. He's someone I really want to bring into the club. Here's another option for you. He's 30 million cheaper. He's always 20 million pounds more expensive, but he's a much, much better player. And he goes, okay, right, I like that. Let's go for that. Or is it going to be, oh, you're right, Tim, mate. Nice to meet you. I hope you get to work soon. Obviously have a small bedding in period. We're not really doing much here at West Ham at the moment. We're just kind of getting a feel for the transfer window. I've got tons of players I actually really want to sign, but we're just going to wait out a bit, They're not going anywhere. Who cares? That's my worry for me, is are we going to do what West Ham normally do and wait too late, have these players get sent to other clubs instead, not move quick enough? Because for me, I feel like it's going to be the latter. I can't see Tim coming in on July 1st and David Moyes turning around and saying, yeah, right, let's get to work. We're going to sign all these players. So I'm thinking, what are we waiting for? What are we actually waiting for? Because I know I've just given you two big reasons. Declan Rice moving to Arsenal, Tim starting becoming the technical director. But I don't know if anything is going to change once those two scenarios are concluded. Are we going to just go straight in and start trying to sign these players? Are we just going to be classic West Ham and just wait? And for me, I just feel like we are. I just don't really understand what we're waiting for. And what's worse as well is, why are we telling people? Why is it being leaked that we have an interest in? Oh, we've inquired about. Oh, we're thought to have an interest in. We're thought to going to make a bid for. A bid is pending for so and so. That doesn't make sense to me. As soon as you identify a player that you think you want to buy them. Like it just makes sense. I don't go into Tesco's and run around Tesco's and think, right, I want a meal for dinner. That looks like the best meal for me. I might get that one, or I might get this other one that's a little bit. I like this one actually. Oh, I don't know which two to get. Do you know what? I'll give it a couple of days. I'll go up to the Tesco bloke and say, do you know what, mate? I really, really like that dinner. That looks really, really nice. I might come back in a couple of days and buy it. Yeah. Oh, I'll see you later then. No, you just go in and you buy it. That's what I don't get. We know we need these players. We know we need to sign somebody. Declan Rice's departure from the club is imminent. We should be getting a replacement in very, very soon, because look at what Fulham have done with Paulinho. They know we're desperate for a Rice replacement. They know we need a Rice replacement, and they've slapped a £50 million price tag on a player who's really only worth probably about £30 million. As soon as Declan Rice leaves, it might be the opposite. It might not be, oh, well, we've concluded the Declan Rice saga now. We know how much money we've got, so we can go out and sign someone. It might be, well, they've sold Declan Rice. So they're basically screwed, and they're going to need to sign a replacement. If we've got that replacement and they've got all that Declan Rice money, let's just roll it up. Let's just rank up the amount of money we would have asked for them. So I know a lot of West Ham fans are getting a little bit frustrated, getting a little bit worried about this transfer window. And to be honest with you, I'm starting to get on their side. I know it's only just begun. I know we've got plenty of time. However, I really want us prepared for pre-season, because we never, ever get prepared for pre-season. Then we bring in these players who we find out don't fit the system, or first day of the season that they play, and all of a sudden it's, oh, he doesn't fit the system. Oh, he's, not played with him before. Oh, he doesn't know who he is. Oh, he doesn't know what his favourite colour is. Like, let the players get a chance to know each other. If you know you want to sign these players, go out and sign them, West Ham.